We're live.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
We have guests this week.
We do. Two.
Yeah. Guests that people were excited to hear from because it's rare you have more than one pen maker on a show at a time.
Yes, we have two now.
This
is amazing. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the Desk Chatter, our podcast, our late night podcast for the middle of the week. I am really excited about this podcast today because of the amazing makers that we have today with us. Let's do a little round and introduce ourselves, and then we will check what we have for writing today. What pen do we have? Who want to start?
We have people.
Oh,
right off the bat, we have people.
Yeah, I think the guest should go first.
Yes, I think the guest should go first. People know who we are at this point. So, Mikayla, do you want to introduce yourself?
So. Sure. My name is Mikayla Jackson, and I am the maker behind White Air Pens.
And I am wearing this in her support because I have like a bear because I live in Berkeley, and so that's a Berkeley bear, and that's the only bear I had. And this is like 8th of March suffragette type of thing that I usually wear on the 8th of March. So here we go.
I love it.
And I am Rich Paul. I am the owner and maker at River City Pen Company.
Very nice. Very, very nice. And the three of us, I don't know if all the people know us. We are transmitting from Alexandra's account. My name is Karina, and Kari, for you, Mikayla, that you don't know me. I collect fountain pens. I love fountain pens, and I do journaling with fountain pens. That's what I do the most, and watercolor arts.
So I'm Alexandra. Currently we're running this show on my account. The plan is that in January this is going to spin off onto its own platform. We're working on it. It's a process. We're getting there. But I got into fountain pens and watercolors through a traumatic brain injury post chemo, and I had to totally relearn how to write at the age of 18. And it's one of those things that as an 18-year-old, I went, well, if I'm doing this, I should put it on the internet. That's far more fun than doing it myself. And so that's how the Instagram started. And then the YouTube started, almost 2 years ago.
All right. And I'm Marina. I'm sorry, I'm like playing around to see what angle works best. So I'm here in my little corner in my office. So it's a little closet me and my dad kind of converted into my little nook. And I make watercolor paint. That's what I do. I make ceramics. I make watercolor paint. It takes forever to make. So I love doing all of that. I've also been, I'm from Europe, and like I've been writing with fountain pens since I was like a little kid because my mom thought my handwriting is terrible. And so fountain pen should help me, but it didn't. So here I am. I started sketching instead of writing at some point. And, you know, all three of us kind of have this weird connection to watercolors and fountain pens. And this is what we came up with.
Yeah. It seems to work.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So a little round, we are going to introduce our pens. What are we writing with today? What do we have on our desk?
Apparently, the random gods of the streaming software have chosen Rich as our first victim of the evening.
Well,
No pressure.
Well, what I have on my desk right now, I have a older, that's not my camera, a Narwhal Nautilus. Noveler Nautilus now, but this was actually a prototype material that they did not actually end up using. I got this from Frank at the Baltimore pen show 2 years ago. We were just kind of talking. As we do at the pen shows in the evenings, we look at each other's pens, and I said, "What's that?" I really didn't know who Frank was at the time. I didn't know. And he's like, "Oh, you like it? Just take it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "No, really." So I have this beautiful. It's an ebonite, but it's a gray and cream with a little bit of black. It looks like a weathered wood. It's really kind of a amazing pen.
And now I want it.
The dark matte colors are really my thing. You know, old boring guy. But and then the other pen I'm using is this one here. This is the first pen that I successfully made that worked. It has a white section. It doesn't really match, but it is it's my first pen. I take this to most of the pen shows with me and use this a lot at home. And it's made from the original version of the diamond cast copper line material by Mackenzie Penworks. They changed the colors. It's a brighter blue now, but this was the original color of it. So those are the two pens I got out right now.
Very, very beautiful. I'm yet to get one pen from you.
Me too.
We'll work on you.
Yes.
Mikayla's our guest, so why doesn't she go next? Also, the way you got your Naveler is shockingly similar to how I got my Pelican from Gary.
Okay.
It was "oh, that's pretty," and him going, "just take it," and me going, "Okay."
Pen people are the best.
So generous.
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask again.
I think I might have said, "Are you sure?" And he went, "I've got another one in my bag."
Yeah, that's kind of how it was for us.
Like, are you sure you're sure? Like,
apparently, people in the comments think you make awesome pens. And so do you.
So my pen I got in yesterday from South Africa is Stanford Pen Company.
Oh.
And they do the hand painted pens. I'm like a wannabe artist. I'm not actually, but I really love and appreciate art. So I really like their hand painted pens. And I just got this one in yesterday with the kind of Luna moths and ferns.
Oh, so beautiful.
It's so pretty. And I don't know what kind of paint she used, but it's got some that, like, as you turn the pen, it looks blue and then it looks purple and then it like disappears and it's magic. It's super neat. And then it's got they did the cool contrasting color set.
Oh, that's nice.
It kind of matches
Wow.
the details on the moths.
Right.
It's a fun pen. It's a big pen, but you kind of want a big pen to show the art.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to ask you how long is the pen if you put it side by side with another one.
Here's here's a Sailor Pro Gear.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty.
So there is
pretty substantial.
Okay.
But it's not heavy by any stretch. Still comfortable.
Yeah. Very nice. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Kari, you're up.
Oh, me. All right. Can I show 3 pens? No.
You can't. Wait, we always start with show 1 and it always devolves into show far more than one.
Last time
I
I
know I
saw
broke the rules there.
some
Sorry.
pens from other makers. And then today I just kind of have to do the checklist of the people that says, oh, I need to mention. So we are going to start with a wooden pen right here, which is made of olive wood, and the finial has the brand of the maker, which is Bazuki Pens. This pen has a bog nib. Unfortunately, the nib is too small for me. I like a broad nib or zoom nibs or bigger than that, stab nibs, and this one is a fine nib. So even though I put ink on it and I keep it going and writing, soon I'm going to change the nib for a bigger one. The other 2 pens that I have are made from resin. This one is Jonathan Brooks material, but it's turned by Sean from London Pen Company, a Canadian maker. And this one was kind of my very first pen maker's pen. So that's why I wanted to show it. It has this material that probably people that goes to the Black Pen Society will not approve because it's too sparkly. And it doesn't have a clip, but it doesn't bother me. This one is in the small kind of size of pen if you compare to other pens. And then this one, it's a pen from Darrell Pens. I got during the Chicago Pen Show, and let me tell you the story. I went right after the person that sang a song and won a pen. I don't know if you know this story, but every time there is a pen show, the owner of Darrell Pens is going to give away a pen for a person that sings at the show, and he will go live in Instagram, and it will show the person singing and anything. So I went there with my hopes that I will be the one singing that day. And he says, no, we had already another person. So I went and I actually picked up this pen that has two of my, well, actually the combination is really beautiful. I like the pearly color and I like the purple, but this one kind of has a mix of yellow and weird sparkly colors. So those are the three pens I want to show.
All right. Marina, you're up.
Ooh, all right. First one up is one of the latest female maker pens I got, because that's like, I guess that's what I'm trying to do on my channel, my YouTube channel. I'm trying to find the female makers to showcase. So this is Black Robin. Very odd, interesting shape, I think. Pointy, but very, very good. Like the blank is, I think it's Jonathan Brooks as well. And it's one of those that I really wanted to find.
Water Lily Boy?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, whenever someone turns them, they always come out different. One of those that I hesitate to ask this, and primarily manipulation, I think, is the ones that I want to buy already made.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I feel like it's unfair to just be asking someone to make it to order and then be like, nope. So I was happy to find this. And another one has a story, because this is actually how Mikayla and I met in a way through Instagram. I'm one of those weird people that comically been trying to get to a pen show but never makes it. And so she has shown this pen that she's bringing it with her to the pen show, my local San Francisco pen show. And so she showed it, what, the first day, I think, or like right before you were coming over. I don't remember. But this, by some miracle, lasted until the very last day. And so I texted you, Mikayla. I was like, oh my God, I'm not making it. Can I buy it off you? And then you were like, yes, this is still available. So this is how we met. And I absolutely love it. This is a beautiful pen. And it reminds me of San Francisco, just in general. It kind of has that vibe. So that's my pen.
I was so still there for you.
I remember you texting me going, I'm not going to make it. And then getting a text like an hour later going, she still has the pen.
Dude, it was that, or I would be taking like a cab and making it for the last couple of hours of the show when I know everyone's wrapping up. And my cab ride would be the price of the pen. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy the pen.
It was waiting for you.
Yeah.
And it was such it was such a high point. We thought you were going to make it. It seemed like you were going to make it. And then I got the text from you, and it was like, they've canceled the trains. And I was like, no.
Yeah, it's a weekend. Weekends are really bad. Like, we have good transportation around here, but weekends is when they make some sort of maintenance all the time. Like, it's going on. So.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your transportation in San Francisco, we came out a week early for the show, me and my wife, and we spent like almost a week. And it was very impressive how easy it was to get from place to place, as long as you didn't rely on their websites for when the trains arrived. You just put in where you want to go on Google Maps, and it told you exactly what train to pick up and where to go to get the
Wow.
transfer.
That's what
And
I do.
it was beautiful, but you go on their site, it's like you would get nowhere.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
So we are
So
some questions.
Kari, I haven't gone yet.
Ah!
We're out of time.
That's so good.
Right.
I want to know now.
Well, first off, I feel like I had to pull the Pelican pen because, I talked about it, which I think this is the last week you're going to see it with the extra fine nib, because I'm either getting a new nib for it next weekend or Matthew Chen is turning this extra fine into something usable, because
yeah, it's
I
still thin.
despise an extra fine, but I love the pen because it's so pink and it's so pretty.
It's a great pen.
And then again, because we're now showing off 3 apparently, this is still like the pen I reach for the most, which comes as no surprise to either of you, which is the Estabrook Golden Gratitude Esty, which is diamond cast resin. This pen is so sparkly.
And it has a very, very impressive story behind it.
It does.
Yeah.
And I quite adore it. And then finally, because you both knew about this pen, but I couldn't show it to you last time, the Hot Toddy Banu from Goldspot.
Yeah, I love it. I saw it today.
It's
very beautiful.
Like this flake, even in here, like is throwing a rainbow. It outside is so pretty.
Very nice. So. And I see that you're gravitating into the yellowish colors.
I would say the 2 yellow pens I have both been sent to me.
Okay.
And one has a very special meaning, and the other is about to be turned into a demonstrator because I've got O-rings ordered for it.
Yay.
There may have been a Penabler's order a few hours ago, and Henry is bringing stuff to me. So it shall be good. Because honestly, it's such a pretty pen because it's an actual demonstrator version, but I really dislike that you can see the converter. So that's going to disappear.
Yeah.
But with all the Beno pens, you can eyedrop.
I know, but I don't have O-rings in my stash. So I had to play.
But you can put silicone. I will bring you a little bit of.
I've got the silicone, but I thought you had the silicone and.
No, silicone alone.
Oh, okay. I was making this more complicated than it had to be.
You're just being more cautious. It's not a bad idea.
Well, my life is living on the edge, Mikayla. All right, let's see if I can. I haven't tested how to get us back to having all 5 of us there. Oh, apparently I should just try it now on stream. That would be highly entertaining for everyone other than me.
Last time you kicked out someone, so.
Last time I did kick out someone. I suspect that will happen again.
Yes.
Should I turn my camera off?
We are invited.
There's 3 of us. 2 more.
1 second.
I feel like this is a rush.
That's so good.
Honestly, there has to be an easier way to do this.
That was kind of fun.
I promise I'm like semi-capable of running a stream. It's just one of my preset. I couldn't figure out in a preset how to do this 5 setup. It didn't give me that option.
People are cheering you on.
Apparently they really want me to eyedropper this pen now. I can. I think I know where my silicone grease is, and I know what ink is in it.
Yes.
Do we want that level of entertainment on the screen right now? It will be a certain level of disaster.
You know what? I know that we have already covered 20 minutes of time. So I was thinking maybe if we keep a little bit of on track the questions that we have, we
That
will
is a
have an
very good
hour.
thought.
Ambitious.
Me, the teacher inside me, have a regular schedule.
I know we're gonna be late for the midterm, so you know.
Debbie says, moving on, LOL.
All right, you guys.
So I have I don't know how we will going to do this because we have lots of questions and we have to
Let's
give
just
you
ask
time
them.
to answer those questions.
Just pick a question and start.
All right, can I start?
Yep.
Okay. All right. How did you guys decide and when did you decide to make your own pens and why?
Ooh.
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mikayla.
Okay. So I've been into fountain pens for several years. And when I went to my first show which was Atlanta last year, I got my first maker pens and I was like, this is really cool. And I learned you can do it, on a lathe. And my dad turned, at the time, kit pens on a wood lathe. And I'm like, he can just do this for me. So that was my initial plan, was to just have him make me pens. But then, it's kind of an investment to get all this stuff to make your own kitless pens. It's initial, financial. So I bought him that stuff for Father's Day. And I started watching him turn. And it was like, I don't want that shaped like that. And I'm like, I'm watching him do it. And I'm like, so then I'm like, can you just teach me? Teach me how to do this? And I started doing it. And as we had talked before, there aren't a ton of female makers that are doing shows frequently and stuff. So I kind of thought it would be a cool opportunity to do something different that I hadn't seen. So I just went for it. I think I have kind of a different take and a different view than a lot of makers. Like, my style's a little quirky, but I call it whimsical. I like it. But I just thought I had something different to offer, and here I am. I'm giving it a go.
Very nice.
Guess it's my turn, huh? I came into the pens and from the opposite side. I was not into pens at all when I started making pens. In fact, my first pen, I did not even want to make pens. I had a couple. I used to do flat woodworking, serving trays, 6-pack carriers, that kind of stuff you see at craft fairs. And I used to do that scene a little bit. And a friend of mine kept trying to get me to make pens. And I'm like, I don't want to make a pen. I don't want to make a pen. Finally, one day he's like, hey, I'm in town and I have my lathe in my car. And I'm like, what? And he shows up at my house and we set up his lathe in my garage and we make a pen from a kit. And I was just hooked. It was, and I did that for probably 4 or 5 years. I was doing high-end art shows, selling them there. And then I got into it more from Jim Hines and Jason Olson from Hines Pens and Right Turns. They were kind of my guides at the very, very beginning, because I knew them through the kit pen industry, Facebook groups, that kind of stuff. And starting to make the custom pens more, they gave me a lot of information on how to do it, where to get supplies and all the equipment to make them. And it just kind of grew from there. Grew a lot from there. But it's, from one little tiny lathe in my corner of my garage to a whole garage space with 4 lathes and everything I got going now. So it's been quite the journey.
When was this?
First pen was probably about 12 years ago. So, and then I started River City Pen Company. That's when I started getting into the custom stuff. It was just be something, a craft company, and it just didn't fit real well. And so I changed the name, rebranded, and that was in December of 2018 when I did that. So it might have been more than 11 or 12 years, but it's been quite some time now, but about 5 years in the custom pens now.
Very nice. So the second question, do you guys write with your fountain pens? Or did you guys write with fountain pens? You said you just answered that question, Rich, about you not being into pens and then you got hooked.
I
But
am more
do
so
you
now,
fountain
but
pens?
I still like making them more than I like using them. I mean, I like using them. I don't, dislike using them. I carry them. I use them at work, but I'm not I don't draw. I don't journal. I just do my writing, taking notes, stuff like that. So my biggest enjoyment is actually just creating them. It's just, I go down in my shop. It's me. Sometimes my wife comes down and she'll help down there with some things. And it's just sort of my stress release after work.
Very nice.
Yeah, I use them all the time. I love it. I consider myself more of a fountain pen collector than a maker. Even I love them. I don't like collect and not touch them. Like I use everything all the time.
So, follow-up question: how many pens do you think you have, Mikayla?
Okay, that's embarrassing. So I just entered them all in Fountain Pen Companion, and I only entered my
Crash the system.
Do what?
You crash the system?
Yeah, basically. No, I only entered mine that were like above $100. I decided in my head the other ones don't count. So like my Twisbees, my Kaweco Sports, count those. And I was at about 80, and I have more than that now. So we'll say if we're including Twisbees, if those count, probably close to 100.
Yeah.
What's
I understand the feeling.
Yeah.
I have a couple less than that.
There's a reason my spreadsheet has not been updated since the Chicago Pen Show in May.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
No.
I want to live in oblivion until I do my 2024 fountain pen recap video and go, what did I end up with this many pens?
Yeah, it's blissful ignorance. Like I honestly, I shouldn't have even started to enter them. I don't know what I was thinking. That was stupid.
I only have to think it's a problem once a year when I make a video. And then when some random person not in the pen world finds the video and goes, why do you own this many pens? It's the only times it's a problem.
My husband to me.
There's going to be someone else out there saying that's not that many.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll say, bless you. Thank you for saying that.
Very nice.
So, Rich, you're really answering the follow-up question in your answer to a previous question, because the next question is, do you have help with your business, or is it just you?
Yeah, she's down right now with the recovering from wrist surgery, so it's kind of really hectic around here right now. But she does help quite a bit. My wife, she does. I'll print out all the shipping labels, but she packs everything up to ship. All my nib holders, she'll start with the rod and she'll turn them down to the diameter I need, and then cut them to the length I need to actually do my shaping and polishing. If she has time, it's once I get all the pens threaded and ready to go, she will at times like cut some of them down to the diameter I need. So she helps a lot, especially during the busy time of year, like when I have the looming DC, San Francisco, Orlando, like back to back pen shows, and this is all summer long. That's all I do is make pens. She is cranking away nib holders for me down there, keeping up that end of the business. So yeah, it's the two of us, and I do a lot more than her, but she does a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
So for me, my mom does some blanks for me. My parents live next door to me, and so I pop over, and my mom will do some blanks. She's done like all my show exclusive. I try to do like a special one for shows, and she's done those. And then every now and then, like you said, just before a show, when something big's going down, I'll recruit my dad to help me sand. but for the most part, it's just me, which is cool. I like having that control.
So cool, so cool. So, for example, you cast your own material or you buy? What is it?
The blanks pre-made. I do both. My mom casts some of them, but the majority of the ones I have, I purchase from Brooks, or I use a lot of Stormwinds. Eel and Anchor I've been really into lately. We've got some pretty cool blanks.
Very, very nice. Do you use wood? Like I am big into wood pens. So, have you done wood wood pens?
I'll go first. I have not. My dad does. He's done some of the kitless wood where you like sleeve it because of the way wood expands and contracts. It's better to have like the piece inside. You know what I mean? So where it's sleeved. So I haven't done that. He's played with that a little bit, but I like color too much and sparkle, and wood doesn't give me what I need my soul for that.
I did 4 or 6 wood pens for the San Francisco show this year. And they were made out of actually redwood burl, and with a resin liner and such, and they turned out really nice. So that they all sold out pretty quickly. I don't make my own blanks at all. I'm at capacity. I don't know when I would do it. I buy the top 3 people I'm buying from usually is Turn Pen Company, the Pen Smiths, and Coral Creations or Bob Dupress. Lately, I've really been into Poorly Controlled. Lisa Marie, her blanks are just fantastic. They're just the stuff she's doing with that. She calls it ribboning that goes through her resins. It's just beautiful. And I did a batch with Lucky Star pens using her material that she just released, and we're actually ready to do a second batch of it. Lisa Marie.
I got that one here.
Oh yeah, there you go. Her blanks are
one.
just spectacular.
And Lisa Marie is so nice too.
Yeah, she's sweet. We met actually in Orlando this year, and yeah, she's just fantastic. Her and her husband, I can't remember his name now, but great people. That's the nice thing about this business is everybody, for the most part, is just so nice. It's just,
I agree. Everybody that you're mentioning, I met at the pen show, and it's like so friendly, and everybody is so helpful when they want to help you to choose your pen or to guide you,
Sure.
and friendly overall, like at night when you're sharing a drink and
that's something
camaraderie.
That it's just us as makers. It just makes us so happy for you to find something that you just love. It's just the feeling that you get that you made something that made someone else so happy is just that we don't want you to buy a pen from us and be like, it's okay. It's like we want you to love that pen. It's
it's such a nice, like every time I go to DC Pen Show and you are all together almost in the same room, I always say it's the happy place because I can spend the whole day there. Very, and you're laughing and everybody knows each other and you share
we're
ideas.
all friends. Yeah.
Very
like
nice.
Alexandra, I think that's your question.
I know. I'm trying to figure
I'm just
out
ruining everything tonight.
She's trying to be nice and explain why she doesn't have any maker pens.
I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase it, Marina.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So actually, I think the easiest way to do it is to show. This is how I have to take off pens caps because my hands suck. Due to nerve damage. And there are lots of maker pens that just don't come with clips. And when you contact them, I know, you've told me about it. It's on my birthday list.
Mikayla makes pens with clips too.
I know she does. But my question is, why does it seem to be so hard to get pens with clips in the pen world? There are some makers that do it, like Mikayla. You have it on a model or a couple models. Timber and Elegance in Canada has just come out with a clip on a new model. Yeah, Kari's got it. Why is
Right
it
turns?
so
This is right turns.
hard? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You want to go, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple reasons. One, yeah, for the most part, it's not a big driver for most people. It's just, they don't like a lot of people don't like the clips breaking up the resins and such. So you do sell more without them. But also, for especially when you're just getting started with it, it's additional tooling that you need to buy, different techniques you need to learn. And when you start and you're busy and now you got to stop and figure out how you're going to make it this way, it kind of slows you down. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that. And it just, I mean, I've always done on request pens with clips, but I never really sat down and designed one. And the biggest reason was just I didn't want to sit down and take the time away from making stuff that I needed to figure it out. Now that I did, it's going to be easier because I have all my measurements down and I just look at my sheet and you get making them. But especially when you start, it's time consuming to make those changes. And I'm going to say probably the biggest maker of clip pens is probably, I don't know, what do you think, Mikayla? I would say either Jim Hines, he has a lot, or maybe Jonathan Brooks. Yeah. They both have a good variety, but they've been doing it longer too, so it's sort of we're getting to it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's just an extra step. It's additional work that goes into it. I chose in my first model, I chose to put a clip on because I like clips as not necessarily aesthetically, but as functionality as roll stops. I don't like clip them in my shirt or anything, but I do like them to stop it from rolling off the table. So I made the decision early on to use clips, but I see the appeal of not. It is additional time, energy, effort, skill.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which I think is why maybe it's less prevalent in the maker scene.
Yeah, no, I remember going to the first pen show I went to, which was Chicago, or the first big pen show I went to, which was Chicago. And I don't think there was a single pen on the Carolina Pen Co. table that I could get the cap off of. And I went, and maybe this isn't a style of pen for me.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan would definitely accommodate you, though.
Yeah, but it's like one of those things, like it's so much of my life is special orders and like having to work things out in a certain way. Like I don't want to deal with it in the pen world too.
I totally get that.
So I'm just really selective about the pens I buy.
I think that's valid.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why my segment did not include a maker pen because I don't own one. Because I've yet to find one in person that I could actually get the cap off of. So.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
The nibs. We want to know where they come from. Where'd you get your nibs? I understand that people kind of have, I think, nib meisters are the ones that sell most of the time, right? Like, how'd you get them?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, so
go ahead, Mikayla.
Okay. Kirk from Pen Realm deals with Bach. So you can buy like your Bach directly from him. And then the importer for the US for Yovo is Meister Nibs, which is run by Brian Gray of Edison. So I just started getting mine because I prefer Yovo because for a couple of reasons. I like their consistency is a little bit better than Bach, and then I like their thread placement is a little higher up, so it's not screwing onto the tenon as much. It's kind of technical, but it just makes it a little more stable. So I've started buying them and then sending them to Kirk to tune because I'm not a nib meister. I'm not gonna. I want my nibs to be really good, and I'm not skilled enough to get them there without a lot of time and energy. So, but yeah, Kirk does Bach a lot.
Yeah, I buy mine the same places as Mikayla does. I sell more Yobo nibs, but I prefer the Bach nib once they're tuned. Straight out of the box, they're not as consistent, and the metal's a little bit thinner on them, which I think gives them a little bit of spring to them. But if you press hard, you'll obviously you could knock those out of alignment if on a thinner piece of metal. So It's so it's I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword there, but personally, for my day-to-day writing, I like my Bach nibs better, but I make both. I try to keep an equal amount of both in stock. So on my tables right now, it's like one end of my table will be all my models with the Yobo nibs, and then my other table would be a mirror image of it with Bach nibs. And so just to kind of keep them separate, because if not, they'll all be mixed in together and I wouldn't know what's what. But personally, I'm more of a Bach nib fan, but again, I'll do either one for you.
Yeah.
Bach needs to label their nibs though.
Kirk's has started engraving some. If you buy a lot, I buy a lot. I don't buy them often either. Any of my nibs, but I always go like with as you know, I buy for the biggest discount that you can get, Mikayla, and just let them and then run through them. And so it hurts when I'm buying nibs, but then I don't have to buy any for like a year, so it's good. But he the last batch he actually engraved it on them for me.
That's awesome.
And so I don't know if that's going to be a regular thing or if it was just something he did because I bought some. But it might make it easier for him too. So maybe he's doing it.
Yeah.
It really bugs me when nibs don't have their size on them.
They do.
Well, I've got a nib and a pen right now, and I'm fairly sure the pen was sold with the wrong size of nib in it because there is no way it's a double broad, but it's not marked because I've also got a broad from the brand, and so I know what their broad looks like, and the double broad is narrower than the broad is.
Oh no!
You see that? I don't think either of the double broads are that consistent. It's consistently larger than the broad. I think a lot of times you're getting a very similar amount of tipping on them. I think that's a little bit hit or miss, at least from my experience.
Yeah, the only double broad I own are from pen makers, and they are Bach nibs, and they flow really amazing, and they actually they flow better than the broad nib. So I have to say that. For me, Bach works really well for double broad.
And Yobo's making a double broad now. You can't get that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, probably 4 or 5 months. You that long? Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I buy once a year.
Okay. Okay. My next question. All right.
Go.
So I want to know if you could to mention any other pen makers that you like, or any other fellow pen makers. And I know that you mentioned so many already, but just to shout out those ones that helped you, and you can share ideas with them and learn from them.
Mikayla Jackson's my favorite. But aside from her, I communicate a lot with again Jason Olson with Right Turns, Jim Hines, again just because they're kind of the two that really brought me along a lot. I also am pretty good friends with Lowry Wilson from Magnolia Pen Company. We talk a lot also, share ideas, a lot on equipment and stuff like that, tooling. We talk a lot about that kind of stuff. But really everybody, it's just, there's not too many people that in our end of the community that obviously we all have our own little secrets and tricks that we don't share. But there's just so much stuff that we are willing to share with everybody else that it's never a problem to go to somebody and say, hey, I really like how you're doing this. What are you doing? And it's, a couple little things here and there. And, I get it. There's things I don't always want to tell people too. So like people always ask me where I get the inserts for my nib holders. And I'm like, no, I'm not telling anyone that. But anything else, it's just sort of, but you could go to anybody really.
Very nice.
me, I'm going to spew off a bunch because I feel like I've had a bunch of help since I started with very minimal knowledge. People have been so kind and shared so much with me that I feel super fortunate. So like Sean Newton has helped me a ton. I was doing when I was practicing doing clips, I was doing it a really weird wonky way because I just made it up as I was going. And then he's like, no, like, let me show you. And he like opened up his and like let me take pictures of how he was doing it. And Jonathan Brooks has been super helpful. I've talked to him the whole time. Jim Hines has been amazing. Brian Gray with Edison helped me a bunch with threading and boring, and he's been tremendously helpful. Papa J is new, but he learned from Nick Pasquale, who also helped me some with internal polishing. And Luke with Papa J like FaceTimed me and we talked through how to do internal polishing, and he really like helped me bump up my game. And I mean, everyone's just been kind. People have sent me documents with diagrams on internals, and I mean, it's bonkers, like stuff you wouldn't think they would share, and people have been like super open and helpful, and it's a wonderful community. I feel like so fortunate to be a part of it. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, everyone thinks we're like big competitors against each other, and I guess in a way we are, but yeah, in so many ways we're not. It's just we want each other to succeed. It's just it's good for everyone that we're all doing well.
Yeah,
well, we want you to find a pen you love, whether it's mine or it's Rich's or it's somebody else's. Like if you don't love it, don't buy it, or get one you love. Like make sure you're happy.
And we all do different things, you know. And again, for the most part, you don't see a lot of, I mean, there's only so much you can do with a pen. But, you know, when someone comes out with something that's doing real well, it's like, I don't want to just like jump on their idea and like, you know, try to take their business away from them. It's just sort of like, you know, that's great. And now I got to figure out what I can do to get some of that business back without like stealing your idea, you know?
Like encourage each other to be innovative.
Yeah. And it's like in art, it's the same thing, you know, like when you're creating art, you can actually express the same idea, but in a different way. And everybody will sell differently, you know, like when you want to sell your art, everybody will like a different piece, or even though they are the same kind of ideas, but everybody's different. So,
yeah. That's a great example. Yeah. Analogy.
Yeah. Art. Impossible to compare.
Can I ask the next one? Because I'm very curious.
Sure.
Because I sell online. I never sell in person. So I want to kind of, as a perspective, I guess, of a small maker and small business person, how do you feel about selling online versus selling at the shows in person?
I'll go first. I prefer selling in person because fountain pens are such a personal thing. Like you were talking about opening pens and being able to open them. I like to see my pens in person, feel them in your hand, because you can look online and guess, but until you actually get it in your hand, you don't know if it's like perfect for you. So I kind of prefer in person for that because I like that interaction with my customer, and they can see it and they can be sure they're happy and hold it and feel it. And I think that makes a big difference. But unfortunately, I mean, not everyone can get to pen shows, and they don't happen all the time. So it's not realistic to only do that, but that is my preferred like interaction to have with my customers face to face. And
yeah, I tend to agree. I am not a salesperson by any means. I mean, I will be able, I could talk to you and carry conversation, but I've never been good at self-promotion. And it's like at a show, you're like Mikayla said, you're able to pick them up, you're able to look at them. And I hope my work speaks for itself when you have it in your hands. When I'm showing it online, it's just, I don't know what to type. I don't know what to say. I post a picture. This is the model. This is, send me a message and we'll sell it to you. But it's just the online is a kind of a strain for me, just because of that.
Photography is tough too.
Oh yeah,
and trying to get the
my
accurate
shop pictures are my best picture with the filthy floor in the background. Terrible hands. But it's so I really prefer the shows, but not just for that part. I always tell people, if you can get to a pen show, get to a pen show. It's just, even if you can't afford to buy anything once you get to that pen show, go and pick up pens and talk to people and make new friends. And there's just so much to offer at these type of events that it's just the community to it. It's just, get to a pen show if you can. It's my recommendation. You got that, Marina?
Yep. I'll try. I'll try to.
She tried really hard.
What are you doing?
I try hard.
It'll happen.
It will.
We were talking last time about that, right? Because I don't buy online. I go in person and I get all my pens in person.
You go to a good amount of shows too, though.
Yeah.
But it's also something I did not think about. It is cheaper for you guys in Canada to do it in person.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. And talk to the pen makers. For me, so inspiring. Just go to the shows and learn and get the opportunity to fraternize with other people that enjoy this hobby, because I feel like I'm in an island that nobody around me writes with fountain pens or understand what I do. And then I go to the pen show and everybody's into the same hobby and in the same passion, and it's so nice.
Aw, people love you guys. And love the pen shows.
Yeah. I would agree. Like, I feel very siloed in the pen world at times. Kari, you know where I live. And then there are also mornings like this morning where I wake up to like 7 DMs because somebody's seen a pen they think I'd like, and 6 other people have seen the same pen, and I've just had 7 DMs all about the same thing. And it's like, I'm siloed, but social media exists.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
The classes are fun too. I always try to get away from my table to go take classes.
See, I've never been able to get away.
You better do it.
I got to teach one at the Atlas Sidewalk Sale, and that was so much fun. Because I wasn't really going to have an excuse to go down to it as much as I wanted to go down. Like, it's an 8.5-hour drive from here to Chicago. And then Brendan went, "Do you want to come down and teach a class?" And I went, "Yes." And so it was great, other than the fact that it bucketed all of day one. But really, that just brought everyone closer together because we were cold and we were wet.
Yeah.
And we were all shoved in the Atlas store because they set up on the sidewalk and it was flooded, and so all 26 vendors were in the store, which is not how you run that event. The second day was better.
I wish one day I can go to the Atlas. That's what I want to say. Is the walk. It seems fun.
Oh, it's fun. I'm really hopeful I get to go back next year.
So do we have one more question? Let me double check.
We have more.
We have 2.
Oh, 2 more questions. The last question.
Yes.
I just read it.
I've cleared the last question.
Oh, okay.
I've done my due diligence.
All right.
Which also then brings up an interesting conversation we can have. So we're going to leave it for the last question. So, do you want to ask the second last question, Kari?
Yes, please. Do you keep pens for yourself? So, for example, you make a pen and you say, "Oh, this one I cannot sell it. This is for me."
Or do you buy a blank that you like really like the color of, and turn it into a pen for yourself because you just like the color of it. Because that's something that I could see myself doing if I had any skill in making pens.
I'll go first. I haven't yet. I mean, all the ones I made at the beginning were for me, but since I've started doing shows, time-wise, otherwise, but besides my pen maker hat, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so I've just been so busy that anytime I get a pen done, it's got to go to a show, or else I'm not gonna have enough pens to go. So the ones I keep are like the duds, like the ones that aren't quite
That's
good
not
enough.
very many though, right?
Yeah. No, I never mess up. but like I have this one for myself that's like an Elon anchor blank that turned out super. It was just so cool. Like I had to keep it, but it's got a crack in the cap. So
It's still really pretty.
I can't sell. Yeah, and then since I couldn't sell it, I could do whatever I want with the finial. So I put like a little Vaporeon. I don't know if you can see it. Little pink Vaporeon on the finial. Because I can't sell that, but
yeah.
So I mainly I get the duds. I'm gonna do myself a nice one of these days. I just have to find the time.
Okay. Yeah. We also have a question for you.
Yeah. Any pens for sale on your site? No, I don't have any pens available on the site right now. Hopefully in the near future. I'm reworking some of my internal stuff. I learned a lot from Brian Gray recently, and I'm decided how I want to rework some things. So I'm in the process of doing that. Knock on wood, I should be done within the next week with getting everything, my new mandrels made and everything. So hopefully soon, but there are no pens available right now. You're not looking in the wrong spot.
Okay. I don't. If I make a pen for myself, I usually go out with that purpose. I have a blank, or I want a blank, or I buy a bunch of blanks and I just really like one of them. I don't have a lot that I've made myself. I think I have like 4 or 5 that I've had at least partial hand in making. But I'm kind of like Mikayla. When I have to get stuff out, I have to move it. My business, it's more than a hobby. It is a business for me. So I do kind of rely on my sales. So I do have to keep stuff. And there's ones I love. I just like, I got to sell it. So, but so I have made a few for myself. So, but not a lot of them.
Yeah. That's super interesting, because if I had to make pens, I will keep all. The hoarder in me calling to keep the pens.
Spend a couple $1,000 on blades. You might think differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Marina, how much of your stock do you keep?
Not a lot. No.
Not a lot?
Yeah, because I make paint, but I also make ceramics.
Yeah.
And I work with porcelain. Porcelain is expensive.
Yeah.
It's finicky. It's expensive. I do not keep a lot of it, to be honest. Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. You do have a very nice custom palette for yourself, though, which you showed off a couple weeks ago.
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it is what it is. I mean, if I keep something, I end up doing second sale once a year. So, if someone could not afford a piece, I'm happy to just, have them have something of my stuff for basically almost shipping cost, and, a little extra. So I can relate to that.
You're incredible. You are.
Oh, you're sweet.
Yes.
Anyhow, so I see Alexandra added something from.
Yeah, there was a Q&A question when I put up the box. There were a couple of really sarcastic responses from people, but there was from our friends who sent sarcastic responses in. Just to clarify, they were all people we knew that sent in the sarcastic responses. But there was one that I cleared it with Rich, and then I DM'd her, and she and I had quite an in-depth conversation about it, and so it made it into the doc. Because Abigail Abigail Markov wants me to ask, when was your last manicure? Which is something that I have had
That's
comments
something
about,
she would ask.
which is, but it's also something I have had comments about as well. When I have had chipped nail polish on the channel or stained nails with paint, and I thought it was interesting that she's had enough of a problem with it. But she is now wearing gloves in her pen videos.
Yeah, we had a big conversation right wide open on her page about a week ago when someone brought up the wearing gloves and the hands, and I kind of said, "Have you ever seen my videos?" Because I've gotten comments. I'm like, and I kind of said right on their page, I sort of go to tell the people that, you know, I have this beautiful pen I'm showing you. Your takeaway is my fingernails don't look good. It's like, okay, I was selling pens, so yeah, we had a lot of fun with it, just going back and forth on her page the one day. So that's kind of where that came from. But I would say that mine was longer ago than Mikayla's. I'm not Mikayla's, Abigail's.
Abigail.
But yeah, never.
But I think it's something that I then spent some time scrolling through Instagram today and realized that how few of us actually wear nail polish.
I always have a full manicure.
You always have a full manicure. Anyone who wears nail polish, though, seems to wear gel nails or like the nail stickers. Mm-hmm. Which then took me back to one of my most popular YouTube videos ever, which is my palette video from last year, where the #1 comment I got was, "Your nail polish is chipped."
Yeah, that's why I decided not to wear any nail polish. I love
which is why I never wear nail polish in videos. Yeah. I've got a huge nail polish collection upstairs, and I never wear nail polish on my fingernails anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that my bestie, she's a nail artist, but she doesn't do this as a business. She just, every time I go to her house, she will do my manicure as a practice, you know, like things we love to do, but it's not our main job. And she always call me, your nails probably are grown. Come, let's do the manicure. Or I call her, hey, listen, I'm going to show, can you do my nails? And I am going to show this weekend, so I did my nails.
Yeah.
But I decorate the nails. Like, how do I show this?
There you
go. I'm probably going to paint my nails on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Just before we get into the car, I'm going to paint my nails because then they've got time to dry on the car ride.
So your next video we'll be watching to see.
my next video is a Daniel Smith doc card video that I filmed today, and then Marina had to listen to me rant in her DMs about it.
They are a little controversial. I'll leave
it. And I spent far too much money for such a messy doc card. It's a mess, and I'm angry about that.
No.
Do we need to talk about it now? Or?
We can. Some of the color names are covered up with the dots of paint. If Schminke and Windsor Noon can do a hand-poured dot card that is tidy, spending $36 on a dot card, I shouldn't have a dot card where some of the names are partially covered up with paint.
Well, I might get into hot water saying this, but watercolor business and paint making, we don't have a lot of structure or guardrails or anything like that. So anyone can do anything they want. Yes. And this is what it is.
Yep. Shop with small watercolor shops you can trust.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It comes down to a personal, like where you stand personally. What do you think is important for you to disclose to your customer?
Yeah.
And big companies like Daniel Smith don't really think you should know a lot of their secrets. And
I love how artfully you're skirting around the issue.
Straight ahead.
You and I might have to do a video next week about that.
One day.
One day.
We'll invite another watercolor.
Watercolor.
and it's gonna get hot.
Yeah,
Yes.
it'll get.
I have one more question to
Okay.
ask that we didn't ask in the chat. Is what ink do you use to do the pen writing when you make a pen and you need to test the pen? What is the ink that you use? That's the question.
Mine's super boring. Waterman black because it's easy to clean out. It's well behaved. It's not gonna do anything wild.
I'm not far off. I'm Waterman Serenity Blue. So
Very
yeah,
good.
that was the first ink I ever bought, and it's still one of my favorites.
For an ink that comes up so often in 20 questions, I still don't own a bottle.
No,
I haven't caved like I did
Get
with
a purple.
Twisby Eco.
They're
I
the
think
tender
you'll like the
purple.
purple.
Mhm.
I mean, it's obviously nothing fancy. It's just nice. It's
yeah.
But
consistent. It's a solid ink. It's another nice ink is the Enderilium inks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've used those. I have their Spirilla green. If you're into greens, it's like a lot of you greens are like kind of like my hat, sort of that outdoorsy tree. This is a brighter, real vibrant green. It's really nice, but it's not like neon though. It's a nice green.
Yeah, I love colors, so inks, I can try any inks, but I have to agree with the Waterman behavior. I ink my vintage pens with Waterman ink exclusively, and I like Waterman inks.
Aurora. I also find Aurora is good. The blue black, I guess that's my go-to. I don't know if I'm going to be dealing in rumors here, but have you guys heard the Waterman apparently is discontinuing some stuff? I still don't know if it's true, but
I
I've heard it from
talked to
several
them
people.
talked to them in August, which was months after it had began.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they were still making the other colors.
Mm-hmm.
And hadn't heard, their salespeople hadn't heard that it was disappearing.
Mm.
Yeah, I wonder where it came from,
Well,
Right.
who knows?
Oh,
But
Parker
after,
Quink.
it's probably come up, that the Waterman, either Serenity Blue or like Waterman in general, I think I figured out this week, like I'm about to hit episode 50 of the show being filmed of 20 questions. And I think it's come up in about 25 episodes. Like at this point, I have no justification for not owning a bottle.
Yeah, I think it
something
came up in
Waterman.
mine.
And it's a pretty cheap ink too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have no justification
Super
to not own
affordable.
it.
Somebody mentioned the Parker Quink. I have to say that also is super affordable and it's well behaved too.
Yeah, I like Parker Quink. I've got
I
a
have to
sample of it.
go.
I don't have a bottle, but it's fun.
I will bring you one.
I actually once asked someone who stores vintage pens what they suggest, and they're like, well, actually any diamine ink that doesn't sheen and is basically blue or green, that way you can use. So that's what I'm also going with. And I think Ackerman inks are also made by diamine, so
I know they made the SBRE brown ink.
Curious why the blue or green.
I have no idea. I didn't ask that. I would imagine that green has the blue base. That's why he told me about it. But
And they've got the blue and the green. I know some crazy person pH tested a whole bunch of inks, and the diamine blue and green colors are close to neutral, and some of the other
pH,
colors
probably, yeah.
are in pH, and some of the other colors like vary wildly.
Okay.
Plus some of the reds too, though, you'll notice on your nibs you'll get that crusting if you don't use them for a while. So that could be a reason on a vintage pen that you don't want to get into your internals of them because they're not as easily cleanable, some of them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Right now I'm just putting Mont Blanc inks and like standard line in my
Expensive inks.
Expensive.
It's okay.
I don't have any Mont Blanc.
When you do the math per mil, like I'm paying less than I'm paying for Sailor Magno inks.
That's not a cheap one either,
So
though.
I said expensive, but this is what I'm reviewing this weekend.
You got it?
I got it.
That's an
I
expensive.
got it. So, and the
Luxury.
DC pen store, whatever the name was, they sent me the wrong item, so I now have an extra ink that they don't want it back. So
I know, I'm jealous because I like the color they've accidentally sent you, and I turned it down at my boutique a couple months ago, and I don't think they're going to offer it to me again.
no, I feel so bad every time this happens. And actually, I have a story time with Abigail, who might or might not be listening right now. There was like a bit of a thing that happened. She sent me a pen, and the cap just cracked, and I have no idea. Was this handling? Was it material? I have no idea. And she like asked no questions. She just sent me a replacement straight away. And I feel like this turns into a question again, small business question. How do you find that customer service? Like, is it hard for you to kind of comply with everything? Because I feel like I as a small business person, I feel so guilty asking for a placement because I know that is kind of, cutting your own buck. Anyhow, so does it do you have mishaps? How do you deal with something happening? I still don't know if it was my fault. Someone handled it.
Yeah. That's always hard. I mean, I try my best to always replace, even when it's not my fault. But if I find it's not my fault, I do tend to be a little direct with specific reasons why this happened, and that I may not replace again. But that's usually more with, I've had a few instances where somebody shows me I use this pen, I put the cap back on, and now the nib's bent. Well, you used it the first time and the cap was on. It wasn't bent then, so it wasn't. And then they show you a picture and the cap's like unscrewed about 3 turns, and it's like, well, there's only because you see the collar on the housing, and it's like, well, that somehow came unscrewed. Could have happened by itself, possibly. I don't know if you took it out either. So, but let's make sure that it's not looking like that next time. So and send them a new nib. But if there's something, if I send you a cracked piece or I'm replacing it, no questions. I mean, it's just bad business. It's hard because it is coming out of your money. It's not as easy. These big companies that are cranking out like 200 pens and off their machines and just here's another one, because like you said, we put our time into it. We got hours into a pen. But it's a happy customer, and hopefully they tell people how well you treat them, and other people hear that too. So you're looking at it as more of you're paying for it, but you also pay for other forms of advertising too. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I haven't had any big issues. I had one customer who their pen was drying out, and they thought it was something with the finials wasn't sealing well enough because it was one of the ones with the screw on. So I printed them the shipping label and sent them, a priority mailbox and was like, send this back. And then they're like, oh, I used a brass sheet and it works now. I'm like, well, you keep that label. But I want you happy, and if I can, fix anything, I would love to do that. Unfortunately, materials, there's not always of that, so that's just kind of a risk we run, right? But I'll always try do within my power to make sure my customer is happy. I want them to love their pen, and I want it to have good feelings associated with it.
All right.
To that point, we have that question.
Yep.
About how many hours does it take to make a finished pen?
Rich, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I mean, I do most of my stuff in batches of about 6 pens at a time right now, so that does cut down my time a lot. And I'm going to go with best case scenario that everything goes perfectly. And it's, how that is. But I would say if you were just going to sit down and make one pen, probably if everything went great, an hour and a half. It's, I mean, I could go faster if I really want to speed through it, but I don't. You know, I'm not one to sit there and just, I produce a lot of pens, but I'm not going at a speed of trying to produce as many as I can in a given time. I've had pens take me 3 hours to make. Also, where just, you know, things aren't going right. This is wrong. Yeah, and it's really varies. But I would say best case scenario, one pen start to finish about an hour and a half at a normal pace.
So with mine, I'm not a business person, and that's very evident when I answer this question. I try to do like something to differentiate myself. So all my pens have little extra jazz, like the inlaid bands are extra time, or I do the bottom finial on my model with the clear cap, my Ursa, and then I've got to internally polish the cap. But for the last time I did, and I also do batches of about 5 at a time. The last time I did one like straight through and it went well was about 5 hours. But I'm slow. I'm not speedy.
But you're also talking about the finials and the internal polishing. I'm just talking about a single 3-piece pen like that there's no internal polishing. It's just, and again, I've been doing it a little bit longer too, so my techniques might be probably a little quicker too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted to rush, I mean, you could do it faster. But
I could, if I did like a straight 3-piece pen, I could probably crank one out in 2 hours. Yeah. But all the stuff I make, I decided I need to be extra, I guess. So it ends up being more than that.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not the most business-minded decision, but I wanted to make pens I love, and I love extra. So
yeah.
But it is because you have a following that also likes that. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
You're talking to somebody that spent 3 hours painting 14 Christmas cards. So honestly, I have no right to judge. And like mine sell for $5 a card. Like I'm not making any profit.
But they're beautiful.
They are.
I spend in the past weeks, I kind of spent hours doing the postcards for the show, and I have, like, let me show you.
Ooh.
They are on my desk. Ooh, right there.
You're so much better than me. I currently have a Google Doc list that's labeled "Do not forget," and somebody texted me this morning and went, "Remember?" So when Estabrook sent me this pen, they sent me another pen as well that they were supposed to send me, except they sent me the wrong pen, and so I have to return that pen and swap it with the pen I'm supposed to have on my desk. And I've got a friend, she texted me like an hour and a half before we went live, and she went, "Have you packed the pen yet?" And I went, "No." It's still sitting next to my desk, and I'm still, it's still on the list. Like, will this end up in my bag on Friday? I hope so.
All right, you guys. Anyone in the chat has one last question?
Yeah.
We're gonna be wrapping up soon.
Yeah, I have a pen to eyedropper now that I know I don't need O-rings.
I have a.
We can still watch that.
Oh, do you want? To be fair, we're done ahead of schedule. I can find the silicone grease and we can eyedropper this. And this can get its not PG rating, as I swear, as I do the whole process.
No, I wanted to know if you guys have any plans for the coming until the end of the year. Let's say if you're going to go to any show or anything in plan. I know that Ohio Pen Show is coming, or it was. Is it this? It was last weekend.
The weekend, so the 31st, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So it's not this week, but next week.
Oh, okay. Are you planning to go, Rich?
Yeah, I go to that one. It's the closest show to me, even though it's the next state over. So I call it my home show. So I'm kind of committed to it. It's a really fun show. It's not like a really small show, but it's a little bit on the smaller side as far as shows go. very lots of vintage stuff. If you're into vintage pens, it's a really good one to go to. There'll be a handful of custom makers. You'll have a few manufacturers that are here and there, and places like Crazy Allen and Federalist Pens. They're usually they're Federalists. I can't remember if Allen does that one. I think he does. But so it's a nice show. It's Terry does the Ohio show as well as the Triangle show. He puts on a nice show. He does a good job. I like to support them, and especially being so close. It's a cheap trip for me because it's only like a 3-hour drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my hopes was to go to the Ohio Pen Show this year, but it was kind of complicated with my teaching schedule.
Yeah.
I cannot go, but yeah, maybe next year.
No shows for me this year. I'm signed up for the California Pen Show in February, and then I'm looking at doing Philly because it seems really fun, which is in January. So I might do Philly too. I don't know. I need to decide that pretty quickly here.
Yeah.
But right for this year, I'm just going to try to get some stuff on my website.
I'll be at Philly also. So if you want to talk about Philly, hit me up offline. I'll give you some pointers. It's fun. It's a nice show. It's with California right after it. I don't do California but I don't know.
Too close.
There's just so many shows. I would love to do them all, but I love doing pen shows. It's the best part of making pens is doing these shows. It's so fun.
And then you
Apparently,
travel.
People want
Philly
to happen. The California Pen Show was fun last year. Is anyone going to the next LA show?
Isn't that the California now?
That's in California.
I think that's California.
Yeah, they that's the show now. So it's more days and it's different location. But it's just I don't think the LA show goes on anymore.
Okay.
I think LA, my 2 cents, will be a little complicated for the next couple of years because they're getting prepped for Olympics.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I hear from people who live there, it's a mess right now because they're trying to renovate a bunch of things. And
So I personally really like this question. We've got a whole bunch of questions all of a sudden. I quite like this one.
I said one more. Okay.
You said one more. We've got 3 more. Deal with it.
I'll answer this one first. So if I wasn't doing pens as in addition to staying home, if I was to go do a full-time other job, what I did before I had my daughter was I was a medical laboratory scientist. So I would work in a hospital lab testing blood. I loved my favorite department. I loved working in chemistry, but I also did some in blood bank and hematology, and I loved it. It sounds like maybe a boring, I don't know, kind of boring, but I loved it because I would sit there and you have your list of things to do and you just get to kind of do it uninterrupted. It was very zen. It was peaceful. And I got to help
parallels here to what you're doing with pens, Mikayla.
Yeah. I got to help people and do science, and I loved it. I really enjoyed that. So I'd probably go back and do that again. As long as I don't have to draw blood. I don't like drawing blood, but I like testing it.
So I don't know if this is a question for all of us. I'm going to treat it like it was. So this all came out of a stage 4 cancer diagnosis at 18 and having to rebuild my life. So in this ideal world, I would have really liked to finish my degree, which was in bioinformatics, which is biology and statistics. I was specifically studying how population dynamics affect the spread of diseases. Much like Mikayla, I very much enjoyed spending time in the lab. I also happened to be the only girl in my program, in all 4 years of my program, which was a very interesting experience, but I did genuinely really like my program, and if it hadn't been for cancer, I definitely would have gone back.
All right, who's next?
We're all going on this one. Come on.
Okay, I will go next. Well, I am doing what I love to do, which is teaching and into the dance area. So I'm doing what I love. But if I wouldn't be doing that, I would probably be doing art, which is my hobby. And I would be spending maybe more time and promoting this art and stuff. Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go next. So I moved here not so long ago, but before that, I was in international affairs and I studied diplomacy and I did a little stint for NATO at some point. I think this is what I would be doing. I'm not a citizen yet, so maybe one day if I become a citizen, I can, work in diplomacy in the US as well. But I just love stuff like that. I love doing that. That's my ideal kind of thing.
Okay, I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yeah.
Well, this is not my main job right now. So I work for our local county in public health, where currently I work in a food safety program where we review restaurant plans for construction, making sure they meet requirements and such. I manage a team of 3 people, and I'm getting to the point that I'm starting thinking about I want to do pens full time. So that is kind of what I want to do for a living. I'm slowly getting there. I got at least a few more years to go. So, but the pens is where I do want to go. That's kind of my. I've always done 2 jobs. I've always had a side hustle of some sort. So I'll probably become a pen maker and be doing something like cutting people's grass on the weekends. Who knows? But but pen making and possibly getting more, since I'll have hopefully more time to commit to it, maybe getting into some resin casting, doing some of my own blanks and such. I have a lot of interest in that. Just the bandwidth isn't there right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think this is the last question.
Mikayla.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough
25 shows not.
If you could only have one.
If I could only go to one show.
Okay. So let's do 2, because that seems, I think it's then you can choose one at the beginning of the year and one middle of the year.
Ooh. We're gonna spread them out that way. So my all-time favorite show that I've been to was San Francisco. It's a lot less vintage and there are a lot more Japanese brands, and there are a lot of small makers, and there's a lot of stationery, which for me it was just really a fun deviation from what you normally see at shows. There were some different things, and I just really enjoyed the scene, and everyone was happy. Everyone was so happy. You could just feel it in the air. It was just a fun show. So definitely San Francisco. Then if I had to pick one in the first half of the year, I like Chicago. That's my home show. It's 5 hours from me, but it's the closest, and it's just a great size. It's not small, but it's not huge. You can see everything and feel like you get time to talk to everyone, but there's still enough different things and enough people there, and that you feel like you get a good sample. I really love the Chicago show, but I am excited. It's going to be in a new hotel this year, because there's not a good hangout spot at the Chicago show. Yeah, so that's the thing. I felt like it was missing, but it's a new location this year. I'm hoping I wasn't able to be a vendor this past year, so I went just to buy pens, and so I'm hoping to be a vendor this year at that show, and if not, I'll be there shopping. So I'll be there either way.
I'm glad you added that you weren't there as a vendor this year, because I'm racking my brain trying to figure out where you were.
Where you were.
In the venue. I'm going, okay, on the floor plan, how did I miss you?
No, I
wonder why you
was
have no
the
maker
shopping
pens.
bags, hooked on my arms, and the credit card waving around.
And I was following Kari around like a lost baby duckling, and or wandering around with the lost father carrying his phone, filming interviews of a show no one knew about. but Kari was making introductions and people decided to do it. So for me, it's Chicago. I love the show. It's great. It's a great size. It's easy enough to get to from Toronto. It's like an hour and a half flight on Porter, or it's an 8.5 hour drive. The second half of the year is harder. I really like the Atlas Sidewalk Sale, but it's not really a pen show. It's more of a vendor event, very much. And so I don't know that it technically counts as a pen show. And then I did Scriptus last year, and I didn't have a great time. There's a video out about it. But I'm going back this year, with a brand and a vendor badge. And so hopefully this year's better, and everything will go smoothly. Because it didn't last year.
Don't go storming out halfway through.
What?
I said, don't go storming out halfway through.
Well, last year somebody almost took me out at the knees, even with my crutches. And so I went, I'm never going back. And then Esther Brooke went, we're going. And I went, hey, can I have a vendor badge? And they said yes. So I'm going with Esther Brooke. Who's next?
I'm gonna try and make it to the Dutch pen show, just because I am visiting family somewhere in May, I guess. So I'll see if I can get there. I would like to. I'm also scared because there's gonna be a lot of Italian pens, and I'm into it. So I'll try that one. But I've been looking at Chicago and San Francisco, obviously. So hopefully I can meet all of you. There's also I'm hesitant. I'm interested. I'm hesitant. It's not really a pen show. Yoseca might have a thing again.
Oh, the Stationery Fest.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but I don't know, because they had some issues. Because like it's an old building, because New York, and people were just like not getting in. I don't know if I want to, just wait in line unless they change something.
It was a great show, though.
So I've heard. You've been, yeah.
Yeah. For me, it would have to say DC Pen Show. It's a big one, but I know my way there, and I know a lot of people there, and I'm excited every once a year to go back to see my friends and to go back to spend time with them. And I don't know, I feel like it's for me the social gathering of the year.
Yeah, this is a really hard one for me, because there's of every pen show I've gone to, there's something I love about every one of them. And I'm kind of with Mikayla on San Francisco as somebody, if you're going to shop, you will see more variety there than any other show, for sure. Like she said, from the small artists, like little boutique cards, and it's just beautiful stuff, more than you'll see of those types of things at any other show. If I was going to pick a second show at a different time of year, I would probably choose Baltimore. I really like the Baltimore show, but gosh, but DC, like you said, Kari, it's a fantastic show. It's so fun. Orlando, I feel the same way about. It's such a fun show. Joe down there, especially for just doing it a couple years, he's really doing well with that show. Every show's fun in its own way. I keep saying I'm a big fan of these shows. I really am. But if I had to just narrow it down to like the two, I would probably have to say San Francisco and Baltimore would be for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Apparently somebody's going to buy you drinks and
Hit me up.
Feeling kind of neglected over here.
And if you go to Philly, they want to hang out as well.
See,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do it. It looks so good.
And
It looks like such a good show.
She watches stuff regularly of mine. I believe she's a nurse.
That's
Is
awesome.
she in Philly?
I don't know.
Are you in Philly, Mel?
I don't know. and apparently people have enjoyed themselves.
Yeah. Where can we find you online, guys? I don't know.
I left links.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I would like to check Mikayla. Mikayla, I haven't seen
Nothing
anything
on our
from.
website right now. We've already
That's
established.
great.
And Deb made it for the very end of the show.
Oh.
And
Hello.
people think Yoseka is aware of their issues.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them a little break. It's their first time doing it. It's a
Get all
lot.
the kinks sorted.
Hell yeah.
It's-
And they got
so much that goes into these
they
shows.
got the
It's
Asian
just-
vendors
they'll
all
get
the
it
way
figured out.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy amount of work. So
They are in New Jersey,
Okay,
but they grew up half an hour outside of Philly.
I have family out there. That's why I asked.
And apparently you have to make it to the California.
Join us.
We're gonna start a GoFundMe or something to get us out to all these shows.
Basically, that's almost at the point I'm at. It's like I have no income other than YouTube money, and YouTube doesn't pay particularly well. I have no money to go to pen shows, but most of my content is from pen shows. So I somehow have to find a way to get to pen shows next year.
Yeah.
So you say there is a good chance all 5 of us might meet at Chicago.
That
Oh,
would
yes.
be fun.
That would be
Yeah.
I won't be in Chicago
Oh no.
Why?
because I don't have enough vacation time to do any more shows. I get 25 vacation days, and I use them almost all. My wife
Yeah.
likes me to keep a week for our families.
Yeah.
That's I did Chicago once. I will be back, I hope. But right now I sort of just that was the year I got laid off for a year. So that year I did more shows. When I got back to work, I had to give up a few. So I mean, I purely went off where I make my best money. And so it's it was purely a business reason, but I do want to go back. I did well there. I liked the show. It was a well put together show. Roger did a really nice job, and just not in the cards right now. A couple years, hopefully.
Yeah.
No, it's a fun show.
Yeah, guys, it was such a great experience to get to know you both.
Yeah, this
And
was fun.
yeah, amazing.
Thank you so
And
much
yet,
for
I
inviting me.
need to get pens from both of you. I'm excited already. My
I'm
goal
gonna-
is to get one pen for each one of the makers.
My goal too.
that need.
I'm gonna have to have the two of you on 20 questions at some point because I think
Yeah.
you'll have interesting answers.
We'll come up with some good ones.
Because I've started casting season 3 officially, so I now need to actually cast 16 episodes of season 3.
All right. Thank you
right.
so much, everyone. It's been fun. It's been over an hour. So hopefully
Yes.
people will, watch and enjoy this one.
Yeah.
Thank you all for
Great
having me.
people.
It was really fun. It was, I had a great time. I appreciate the offer to come on.
Woohoo.
Absolutely. It's good to be
Yeah.
on with you, Rich. Wait, high five.
Here we go.
I was excited to see he was on too. He's my bud.
All right.
Yeah.
As always.
Thank you.
Oh, 1 second. Our schedule's weird for November.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. Well,
let
we're
me
meeting again.
find a calendar. Our schedule's really weird for November because I'm really selfish and I'm taking my birthday off.
Who does that?
I know. Because my birthday's on the Sunday,
Well, that's a good.
November 3rd, but it's the Royal in Toronto that week, and we have tickets to the horse show. So we will not have a show on the 6th. Our next show will be the 13th. And then we've got a show on the 20th because the 27th is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Here in the US, yep.
Yeah. My birthday is November 3rd, Deb, which is the week after Scriptus. And the day after the Christmas Bazaar.
I will bring you some goodies. For
2
you.
days after Fountain Pen Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, the funny thing is, last year it was Fountain Pen Day, and I did not get a single one of the bright pink items, which is so silly because I am
What a
such a
disappointment.
girly girl that loves pink, and I didn't buy a single pink item for Fountain Pen Day last year. And this year, I hate the color. And I'm going, I really wish I had one of those Esterbrook pen cups from last year.
That's what I got last year. They're so good.
Very nice.
I'm hoping they actually come out with them this year, even in the like purple, like blue purple color, because I don't like the 3 colors they're currently out in to match the current pens.
Oh,
I'm waiting for someone to show up with a beer in one of those at one of the pen shows.
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, and for the people that goes to the pen shows, I try my best to go to the ones that I can drive. Unfortunately, Ohio is not on my schedule because I have Toronto this weekend, so it's kind of too close, and then work and whatever. But if you see us there, go find us. We have postcards to give away. I always have art and postcards to give away. So, and this year we have the desk chatter.
There we go.
Car has been creating postcards while I've been swearing at Christmas cards. she might have been slightly more productive than I have been. But you've got, are you at Stilo or do you just have a pass through Stilo?
I just have a pass. This is my card for this year.
That's nice.
Yeah, I did that art. I've been doing lots of arts. I did this one for Esterbrook.
Oh, that's
cute.
cute. That's gorgeous.
Oh, I love that.
And I did this one for Wonder Pens.
Oh, Kari, those are stunning.
Yeah, I like that one.
Deb has a question price of creating postcards, so you should just send her a DM.
Like, you print them out, right, somewhere? So I think that's what she wants to know.
Yeah, I go to a print shop.
I think she wants to know, like Deb just wants details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so
I cut them.
You're gonna be on the show floor, and I'm gonna be with Esterbrook.
Yeah, I do have a vendor's badge because Stilo allows me to go with them. But I'm not working, thankfully, because
I'm working.
At the Stationery Fest, I was working with Tasha, and it was like insane. I couldn't.
Oh, I expect it'll be insane. We'll see how long my agreement with Esterbrook is. I help them set up. We'll see how long my brain lasts after that. I have my agreement is I help them set up, and Shannon of Couture Pens, who's the other Canadian helping, she's never been to Scriptus. And so she wants a little bit of time to shop the Canadian vendors who she's never seen before. So the only mandatory time I have to cover is when Shannon's shopping. Otherwise, I'm free.
Yeah, very well. So thank you. I have no words to appreciate the fact that you're connecting with us at this hour.
Yeah. Almost 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
I took a nap before we got together, so I'm good.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much for asking me to be on. I'm really honored.
Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you also for the people that connected.
Yeah, we had some good crowd.
We had some great questions from the audience.
All right.
We will see you guys in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Yes.
The 6th. Not the 6th, the 13th.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good night.